Vice Chancellor,
साउंड क्यों नहीं आ रहा?
respected professors,
चेक नहीं किया क्या?
distinguished dignitaries, dear students.
उनका ऑडियो चेक हुआ था?
I am both happy and a little unhappy. Happy because
उनको थोड़ा
I have
क्लोज.
been invited to inaugurate this National Symposium on Women's Safety at Work and Public Spaces. I am a little unhappy because I am unable to be physically present at the meet.
साउंड बढ़ा.
I am only virtually connected because of certain commitments. I am really sorry about it. Let me begin with a small query that requires some kind of an introspection from all of us. Are you aware that India, that is Bharat, that we celebrate as a great country, has so many women who are worshipped as goddesses? In the Vedic period, we have had goddesses called Aditi, Apsaras, Aranyeli, Bhumi, Danu, Diti, Ila, Kasha, Niritti, Radha, Saranyu, Saraswati, Shachi. And in the Quranic literature, we have had women goddesses from A to Z. Adyeya, Anasuya, Anamati, Arundhati, Ashoka Sundari, Balatripura Sundari, Chaya, Devaki, Devi, Dhanuvati, Diksha, Deepti, Disha, Ganga, Hariti, Harsa. And we have had main goddesses called Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, and so on and so forth. If this is a country which has worshipped women as goddesses, like no other country and no other civilization has done, let us look at what is happening on ground zero. If you look into the website of the National Crime Records Bureau, you will be shocked to find that there are about 4,45,256 cases against women as per the NCRB data, equivalent to nearly 51 FIRs every hour. Violence in the form of sexual home for 18.7% of the crimes against women, and rape accounts for 7.1%. A total of 31,516 cases of rape were reported, amounting to one rape being reported every 16 minutes. Therefore, today the reality is that in a country where women were worshipped as goddesses, the crimes against women are also on the rise. It is in this context that this National Symposium on Women's Safety at Work and Public Spaces assumes significance. Let me begin with a story. I do not know how many of you have heard about Banwari Devi of Rajasthan. Banwari Devi of Rajasthan belonged to a particular caste whose avocation was pottery. She lived in a very remote village. In the year 1987, Banwari Devi became what is called a sakin, a friend, which is a grassroots worker employed as part of the Women's Development Project run by the government of Rajasthan. As part of her job, Banwari Devi took up a lot of issues. In fact, in 1987, she successfully took up the issue of a rape of a woman. But the whole world turned topsy-turvy in 1992 for Banwari Devi. In 1992, the state government launched a campaign against child marriages which were rampant in Rajasthan. In fact, during the fortnight preceding a particular festival called Akha Teej, lot of child marriages used to happen. Banwari Devi prevented lot of child marriages, but when he prevented the marriage of, hold your breath, a 9-month-old girl to another child, people belonging to the upper caste felt offended. Therefore, when Banwari Devi and her husband had gone out to the field to collect some haystack for their cattle, her husband was beaten and she was gang raped by 5 people. She took the courage to lodge a police complaint. Police would not register the FIR. After long fight, they registered the FIR. They prosecuted the case. The case throughout the nation became a sensation. Then the CBI took over the investigation. The culprits were arrested, charge-sheeted. But unfortunately, in 1997, the trial court acquitted all the 5 culprits. This came as a bolt upon Banwari Devi and the people who fought for justice for Banwari Devi. Immediately, some women's organizations approached the Supreme Court by way of a writ petition under Article 32 of the Constitution. It is in that case that the Supreme Court drew a lot of inspiration from 2 international instruments and framed certain guidelines. These guidelines came to be known as Vishaka guidelines. These guidelines provided the necessary protocol for the safety and security of women at workplaces and public spaces. These guidelines provided for the constitution of internal complaints committee in every organization so that harassment of women at workplaces do not go unnoticed and unpunished. The Vishaka guidelines were directed with the Supreme Court to be implemented till the time a full-fledged law was passed by the Parliament. Unfortunately, the Parliament took 16 long years to pass the necessary enactment. Ultimately, the Act was passed, which is called POSH Act, POSH Act, Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplaces Act 2013, after 16 years of Vishaka guidelines. The importance of these guidelines is, for the first time, the Supreme Court filled up a gap in the law when no law existed to prevent harassment of women at workplaces. Supreme Court filled up the gap and directed the Parliament to take it up. Therefore, when the Parliament enacted the 2013 Act, it was actually lacking behind judicial activism. Today, the necessity for such an act and for protection of women at workplaces is on account of the fact that over the past 78 years after independence, our country has made a long stride in the advancement of women in the field of education and employment. if you look at the present statistics, you will know that women's literacy rate is at 77%, and nearly 2.07 crore female students were enrolled in higher education in the year 2021-22. This constitutes nearly 48% of the total enrollment ratio. The female labor force participation rate in the country is at 37% in 2023 as per periodic labor force survey report of 2022-23, with roughly 41% women from rural areas participating in the labor force. This has led to more women being out for work and in public spaces. However, the biggest concern is the rise in crimes against women and the harassment of women. Therefore, this symposium has been organized with a view to spread awareness among the girl students as to how they are protected at work and in public spaces. In fact, I should tell you a very interesting case that came up before me when I was a judge of the Madras High Court. Many of you must have heard about a university called Pondicherry University. In the Pondicherry University, two girl students were attempted to be molested when they were out for a walk in the morning. The administration projected the case as one of ragging. Therefore, the matter was referred to the ragging committee and they wanted to close it. But when the two girls approached the High Court in the first stage did not grant relief. They only referred the matter to the Vice Chancellor. Unfortunately, the Vice Chancellor of the university attempted to bring about a rapprochement, asking the boys to apologize and also the girls to apologize. When the girls did not apologize, the girls were suspended. Therefore, the girls had to come before the High Court for a second round of litigation. Fortunately, that second round of litigation came up before me. At that time, there was another gap in the law. Whether a university where students go to study is a workplace for the students was a matter on which there was no clarity. A university or an education institution is a workplace for teachers and non-teaching staff. But is it a workplace for the students was a question. But fortunately by then, the University Grants Commission had issued certain guidelines. Therefore, the Madras High Court was able to direct the Pondicherry University to treat the case as one of harassment of women at public space and to initiate an inquiry in terms of the UGC guidelines. Therefore, there are ever so many situations that we come across where women feel insecure in public spaces. It is in this context that a huge awareness is necessary for the students. Unless you are aware of what is happening outside, unless you are aware of how the law protects you, unless you are made aware of what mechanism you have for the redress of your grievance, it is not possible for you to have a safe environment, whether it is workplace or public space. Therefore, I take this opportunity to thank the Lucknow University for partnering with National Human Rights Commission to organize a symposium of this nature, which will go a long way for the students to get empowered. After all, knowledge is empowerment. This empowerment is what we are attempting to do by collaborating with universities and spreading the awareness. I wish the symposium a great success and I hope it will enlighten the students upon their rights as well as responsibilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, Justice Rama Subramaniam, for your address, and we are grateful that the Department of Sociology, University of Lucknow, is collaborating with National Human Rights Commission in sensitizing this very important issue at the university level. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I request all the distinguished guests to come to the dais, and I request Honorable Bala Subramaniam can also join us through this link which we have provided. Have you already provided the link? Okay. So he should be here to listen to us. Okay. So can you please inform him? Yes. Okay. Please come. We have already we have a link. If you are not present, those who are not present, you can send it to people. The link किसके पास है? YouTube में वो already live चल रहा है आप लोगों को. किसके पास है? प्रमोद जी, मैं डिपार्टमेंट में भेज दिया, ग्रुप में डाल दीजिए. डिपार्टमेंट में मैडम ग्रुप में डाल दीजिए. लाइव चल रहा है. Right. So now I request our guest, our Honorable Joint Secretary, Government of India, National Human Rights Commission, and Madam is also a civil servant, and I would like to, introduce her. Madam का पेपर दिया, एक पेज दिया था मैडम ने मेरे को. It's always better to formally introduce our guest. Srimati Sandipoli, I may be, apologize if I do not pronounce properly. Chakchuak is an Indian Administrative Service Officer of the 2008 batch, Gujarat cadre. She is currently serving as Joint Secretary at the National Human Rights Commission. Over the years, Madam has held several important positions in the Gujarat state government. She served as Additional Secretary in the Finance Department at the Secretariat in Gandhinagar, where she was responsible for key aspects of financial planning and management. In addition to this role, she was given additional charge as Director of the Gujarat Energy Development Agency. And she has a very strong social science background from Presidency University. She did her history as a subject. So as we know, if you remember the work or the statement of a very famous sociologist of America, Alan Turing, that sociology grew out of history. So in that context, I would like to again invite on behalf of the university, on behalf of the department, to address the gathering. Madam, please.
A very good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I have to look around. Are we asleep? I think the students had a very tough weekend. That's why I think they are not in a position to respond well. Huh? Respected dignitaries on the dais and faculties, all speakers for the day who have been invited here, who have graced the occasion, and who found time, all the way from, some of them are from Delhi, I believe, to come and address this symposium, and also the students of Department of Sociology, University of Lucknow, as well as other students from other faculties. It is wonderful to be here in Lucknow. Recently, in September 2024, the National Human Rights Commission organized a symposium regarding safety of women in workplaces and public spaces. That was in Delhi. And at that time it was felt, what can be done further? There were lots of suggestions coming from everyone, including policymakers, representatives of the civil societies, maybe the law enforcers as well. It was felt that we should go to places where the rates of crime which are recorded are higher. We realized that in the state of UP, it being a very big state, I believe, the numbers were showing on a higher side, so we thought we should choose, the state, and we have approached the University of Lucknow, and thank you so much for having us here. It has been some time since the Vishaka guidelines were published, so it's 30 odd years. We have come a long way. At that time there was a lacuna, there was no legislation which could have protected women against such crimes. The legislature had set, has given us this act in 2013, the POSH Act, Prevention of Sexual Harassment in Workplaces, that was introduced in 2013. However, cases are witnessed across the country. If you read the newspapers, sometimes if you read, the second, third page or something, you would not feel like reading. For a woman, for myself, when I read, sometimes I do not feel so good reading about such cases which are reported in the news. And especially after joining the National Rights, the Human Rights Commission, we have to take suo moto cognizance of cases which are reported in the news. And it is a very sad story in many of the cases. Why is it so? I have lived in 3 metropolitan cities, especially as a student, how it used to feel for a girl student in public spaces. I remembered when we used to take the public transport in Kolkata. I do not know why. And for a woman, it is a matter of shame in certain situations, I hope the youngsters of today are changed in their mentality, that they are able to express themselves, that they can, rise against such incidences. I believe we are more or less in a better position. Think of those women who are working, let's say, in an unorganized sector, where they do not have a voice. The Honorable Justice, the chairperson of National Human Rights Commission, had just told us about the statistics of crime, the incidences, and the labor force participation data that is recorded by the government of India. Even though the workforce, the participation has shown a much better percentage, you would see that at the executive level, the representation of women may still be not what it should be. I believe if a woman reaches certain positions, I believe they would be able to bring in those sensitivity, for their own kind. Well, I believe it is not all that bad everywhere. I have worked in institutions where I have found that there had been no incidences as such. It is surprising because the males who were working there had been such wonderful support for the organization, never had such incidences occurred. That was, in certain places. But then, you all know, we all know, it may not be as drastic a crime as, let's say, a rape. It can be in all forms. How do we ensure? See, enforcement is one part. Enforcement will keep happening. Now, technology is good. We say, especially in cities, despite the, what do we call that comfort we have in being anonymous, that is one big thing I believe, that perpetrator of crimes are emboldened when they are anonymous. If you see in a city like Delhi, you may find that, it isn't so great because maybe it's a big city where people from different places come in. They are not known. You are unknown, so you feel that you are free to do whatever you want. How can we address this? Apart from this enforcement and all these interventions that we have through legislations and everything, I urge educators, very important. And this is a higher education institution. Yes, I think we should start very early. The NEP also has such provisions. If we all teach our children early in life to respect the dignity of other people, not just women, of other people, I believe this issue can be resolved. However, that's a very long shot, it takes time. Till then, we have to focus on the enforcement side as well. We have to focus on the policy making, maybe awareness, the outreach. How do we let others know, those who do not even know that what is happening to them is not right. Maybe this is how we may contribute to ensure that the human rights of every individual, including the women who do not have a voice, are protected. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, madam. And it was a very brief, and we would also be listening to her in the next session, coming session, as a chair. Now I request Professor Sukant Chaudhary, who has been with us since 34 years, and he has also been teaching the issues of genders research and gender studies. So I welcome Professor Sukant Chaudhary.
Thank you very much, Honorable Justice Rama Subramaniam and Madam Joint Secretary, Professor Patnaik, Gupta ji, Professor Sau, Professor Mehrotra, Professor Pratibha Raj, Susma ji, all faculty members, dear students. what I wish to say, as Madam said, it will take a long time. I mean, we have just started. So I'll give you some statistics. I will be about 65 now. That means I was born in 61. So we have no idea about human rights. But I joined sociology and did it from Delhi University. So there was some idea. And in 93, this commission was set up. In 1993, just a child now. Good that there is a justice and there is a senior IAS officer. So they must be doing well. But as she said, Madam, that it should not be only applied to women, it can be applied to men. Maybe you are a victim, I am a victim, maybe. Actually, I am a victim. I'll go to NHRC. Actually, I'll go to NHRC. Maybe Prakash is a victim. Your name is Prakash or Deepak? So everybody can be a victim. It is only a child now. Not a neonate, but a child. Okay. And where do we stand? हम कहाँ स्टैंड करते हैं? थोड़ा हिंदी बोलना पड़ेगा, काफ़ी हिंदी लोग हैं. मुझे वैसे बहुत ज़्यादा हिंदी नहीं आती है, वो ना नी का की गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. But anyway, so India stands 2024 रैंकिंग. अच्छा, एक्चुअली साहू सर ने बोला अभी मुझे कि आप बैठिए बोल दीजिए, तो मैंने प्रिपेयर कर लिया, लेकिन ले आया था मैं, ह्यूमन राइट का सब ले आया था, क्योंकि 2-4 लेक्चर दे चुके हैं, ठीक है. लेकिन ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, यू कैन राइट इट डाउन. India ranks 109 out of 165 countries in human rights. Very poor, extremely poor. We are 150 crores almost. They are saying 140, but anyway, 140 to 144 crores. I think 140 crores must be suffering from human rights. 109 out of this. And HDI is very important. Unless the human development rises to the occasion, there are whatever parameters, 16 or 18 parameters, it is very, very poor. ये हम लोगों को जानना चाहिए. मैं इसके बावजूद आई डोंट वांट टू स्टे इन अटलांटा और एडिलेड, दो देयर इज अ स्कोप. आई डोंट वांट, आई वांट टू स्टे इन इंडिया ओनली. बट वी रैंक 134 आउट ऑफ 193. कोई डेवलपमेंट नहीं है. अखबारबाजी और टीवी न्यूज़ ऑल नॉनसेंस, और रील तो सबसे बेकार है. कल किसी को मार दिया, आज किसी को मार दिया, 10 प्लेन एक्सीडेंट हो गया, ये रील वील से बेकार है. कैसे, हाउ टू डू इट? And gender equality index is 108 out of 193. Gender equality तीनों important है, ठीक है. अब हम आते हैं ह्यूमन राइट. आपका तो मालूम है 30 ह्यूमन राइट्स हैं, 30 ह्यूमन राइट रिकॉग्नाइज्ड, 5 बेसिक ह्यूमन राइट है. ये जो 5 बेसिक ह्यूमन राइट है, दिस इज ऑल लिंक टू वुमेन इन सेफ्टी ऑफ वुमेन इन वर्क प्लेसेस. दिस 5 बेसिक ह्यूमन राइट्स. कौन सा है? राइट टू लाइफ, वहाँ भी है राइट टू लाइफ. आए दिन मैडम ने कहा कि 3rd पेज 4th पेज पढ़ने की मन नहीं करता, ये रेप हो गया, वो एक्सीडेंट हो गया. दिल्ली इज ए रेप कैपिटल. माई डॉटर वॉज डूइंग ग्रेजुएशन फ्रॉम दिल्ली. She said, it's a rape capital, I must go to Mumbai. She did PG in Mumbai and now working in Mumbai also. That means Mumbai is a better place. Whatever, I mean, these days people are much aware than me. Me, a very old fellow of 65 years, I didn't know what is human right. We all developed, we have been socialized under patriarchy, but however, that much patriarchy was not there because my father was a hand-picked husband, actually. जोरू का गुलाम था फादर, तो इसलिए हमें नहीं पता है इतना patriarchy कैसे है. And I have 5 sisters, so they will kill me अगर मैं कुछ करूँ. तो इसलिए मैं बहुत ज़्यादा patriarchy में आया नहीं. मैं अभी बेस्ट चाय बनाता हूँ, खाना भी बनाता हूँ, जानते ही आप लोग इसको सब कर सकता हूँ, आप सबको पिला सकता हूँ चाय. The point is, we didn't know about human right. Now we know about human right and women's safety at workplaces. Somebody, I have been accused also. I have not been accused. I have been, said, very well, ideal person, but I have been accused also. Because when I say someone, when I review a student, how a student can be disciplined in India, tell me, and that too in Lucknow, in Uttar Pradesh, tell me how a student can be, and these days, all the time working on mobile. भाई आपको कहना पड़ेगा मोबाइल स्विच ऑफ करे या साइलेंट मोड में रखे. तो दूसरा बता, तू कौन होता है भाई? अब सॉरी, these are the language, this is the language. Who are you? Very adamant way. So you have to discipline them. You have to say stupid. These days, if you say stupid, somebody can complain. So there is a use and misuse of the act also. What is that act? Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act of 2013. There is use, good use, but there is misuse as well. There is misuse. Okay. Now come to how many rights I mean, the first one is right to life, then liberty, freedom of from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, right to work and education. These 5 are basic human rights which applies to this safety, women's safety at workplaces. Okay. Now out of the 30, some more are also important. Out of those 30, what are they? ये तो 5 बेसिक हो गया, उसके अलावा और क्या चाहिए? फ्रीडम फ्रॉम डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, ठीक है। अच्छा, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन वर्क प्लेस में अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर आएगा कि नहीं आएगा? बिल्कुल आएगा। और आपके जो डेली वेज लेबर, अभी कोई हम बाउंड्री वॉल बना रहे थे, मेन का 600, वुमेन का 500। मेन को 500 क्यों दे रहे हो? और उसमें से 100 रुपये वो ले लेगा ठेकेदार, वुमेन का 400, उतना ही काम करती है। नहीं, वो हार्ड वर्क नहीं कर पाएगी, ईटा उठा नहीं पाएगी, ऑल नॉनसेंस। ये होता है कि नहीं होता है? सब लोग तो मकान बनाया होगा, सब लोगों के यहाँ एक लेडी लेबरर लगी होगी और एक बच्चा को ली होगी गोद में, है ना? ये भी तो होता है ना। सो फ्रीडम फ्रॉम डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, अभी कहना बड़ा, इट विल बी अ वेरी स्वीपिंग जनरलाइजेशन, इम्प्रैक्टिकल इन इंडिया, हो ही नहीं सकता। नॉट ओनली मैन एंड वुमेन बट ऑल्सो मैन एंड मैन। There is a difference of wealth. You have been, reading inequality. It's terrible. Then torture I have said already. Right to recognition as a person before law. ये कौन करता है? भाई FIR करेगा कि नहीं करेगा? कि पैसा लेकर करेगा FIR? मैं जाता हूँ, मेरा FIR नहीं करता है। मेरा नहीं मतलब मैं किसी के खिलाफ नहीं करता है। क्या व्हाट इज दिस, ये वो व्हाट, नो पुलिस ये वो, लॉट ऑफ हैंकी पैंकी करता नहीं। अगर पुलिस सही होता, हम लोग अभी 10 दिन पहले थे रबात में, मोरक्को में थे। हम सोचे थे कि भाई इस्लामिक कंट्री पता नहीं कैसे होगा, सो पीसफुल, इट वाज ए फ्रेंच कॉलोनी, एब्सोल्युटली मेनली है लॉ अबाइडिंग। अगर हमारा स्ट्रीट्स गंदे हैं बिकॉज सफाई कर्मचारी इज नॉट वर्किंग, अगर हमारा यहाँ का टॉयलेट गंदा है, हमारा सफाई कर्मचारी का वर्क नहीं कर रहा है, हर चीज़ में अप्लाई करो उसको। राबात इज सो वंडरफुल, लॉ अबाइडिंग पीपल, respect for women. When we went there, South Ar also went there, 5,000 people gathered, 300 Indians gathered. Okay. लखनऊ से हम काफ़ी लोग गए थे। क्या है, पहले आया नोटिस, वी रेस्पेक्ट वुमेन, लंबा आया, अब कुछ भी वुमेन के साथ छेड़छाड़ करोगे अंदर चले जाओगे। ऑल इन द नेम ऑफ, क्या नाम उनका, मोहम्मद द 6th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोनार्की, जस्ट वंडरफुल। यू कैन नॉट इमेजिन इस्लामिक कंट्री होस्टिंग फुटबॉल वर्ल्ड कप 2029, और उनका पोजीशन मच बेटर है हमसे। पॉपुलेशन कम है, 4 करोड़ है। ओके। सो राइट टू रिकॉग्निशन एज ए पर्सन बिफोर लॉ के लिए मैं रबात वाला एक्सपीरियंस दिया, मोरक्को वाली। ऑल राइट। देन अनदर, राइट टू इक्वलिटी बिफोर लॉ, राइट टू रेमेडी फॉर कॉम्पिटेंट लॉ, देन राइट टू फेयर पब्लिक हियरिंग, ये भी इशू है। Okay. Then comes to right to marriage and family, ये भी तो है, right to marriage and family, freedom of information which is not there, freedom of information. Okay. Then come to, there are many more but only concerning this one, right to social security, इतना important है। So इसमें employer का responsibility क्या है कि वो implement करे ये anti harassment policies। सारे यूनिवर्सिटी में ICC खुल गया, मेरे ख्याल से पहला ICC का हम लोग मेंबर थे, सबसे पहले 2001 में खुला यहाँ ICC, JNU वगैरह में खुला होगा ICC वगैरह, बढ़िया। देर कंडक्ट ट्रेनिंग टुवर्ड जेंडर सेंसिटिविटी, वो जेंडर सेंसिटिविटी ट्रेनिंग में हम भी गए हैं, बहुत ही फॉर्मली सिखाते हैं। उसमें क्या चाहिए, व्हाट इज सोशियोलॉजिकल इम्पोर्टेंट हियर इज स्ट्रक्चरल एडजस्टमेंट। मानते हैं आप लोग, अगर स्ट्रक्चरल एडजस्टमेंट ही नहीं होगा तो जेंडर सेंसिटिविटी सिखाया क्या हो जाएगा? ठीक है, आई एम नॉट गोइंग इनटू दोज हीनियस क्राइम्स, घिनौना हरकत, उसमें मैं नहीं जा रहा हूँ। इतना घिनौना हरकत शायद यूनिवर्सिटी वगैरह नहीं होता है। एक दो केसेस आया है, उड़ीसा से एक केस आया, वो तमिलनाडु से आया, वो प्रोवोक करते हैं सुसाइड करने के लिए, उसको हरास करते हैं, ये सब तो केसेस है। लेकिन उसमें एक डिप्रेशन एंगल भी है, जो सुसाइड करते हैं, क्योंकि मैं किसी रिलेटिव को जानता हूँ सुसाइड किया, डिप्रेशन एंगल भी है उसमें, कंटिन्यूस डिप्रेशन, परफेक्शन नहीं है। परफेक्शन ना हो तो मैडम को तो IAS ऑफिसर नहीं हो जाते कि नहीं हो जाते? परफेक्शन है, IAS तो होते हैं ना। मेरा 2 नंबर में छूट गया, अरे 2 नंबर में क्यों छूट गया, 20 नंबर एक्स्ट्रा क्यों नहीं लाए? है नहीं ये सब। Then so conduct training gender sensitivity practically होना चाहिए, gender sensitivity practically होना चाहिए. Ensure safe and good physical environment वो almost है, कोई इशू नहीं है. Promote mental wellness which is very difficult. Mental wellness आना बहुत difficult है, क्योंकि wife and husband working, बच्चा इधर है, एक आया रखा है, या widow mother in law है, या कोई है, लौट के आने के बाद चाय कौन बनाएगा? इशू तो ये है ना, चाय बिस्किट कौन देगा? है ऐसा? ज़्यादातर नहीं, चाय कौन बनाएगा? देन सपोर्ट प्रेग्नेंट एम्प्लॉयज़, आजकल है अच्छा, न्यू मदर्स. एड्रेस स्ट्रक्चरल एंड कल्चरल इश्यूज, मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. स्ट्रक्चरल कल्चरल इश्यूज़ को एड्रेस करना ज़रूरी है या नहीं? हमारा जैसा कल्चर है थोड़ा उसको मॉडिफाई कर सकते हैं. कल्चर फ्रेजाइल तो नहीं है, एक ग्लास तो नहीं है तोड़ देने से टूट जाएगा एकदम से, फिर उसको जोड़ देने से जुड़ जाएगा, ऐसा तो है नहीं. कल्चर इज़ नॉट फ्रेजाइल. Culture takes a long time, slowly changing, very slowly, because we are also a slow country, you agree? हमारा urbanization 10% हुआ है 50 साल में. कहाँ 51 में था 17.5 और 2000 में हुआ 27.5, 10% ही urbanization हुआ, तब तो population कम था. So this is also required. Think about villages, तब था 68%, अभी शायद जब आएगा villages हो जाएगा 65%. ठीक है, 3% अर्बन बढ़ जाएगा. 65% विलेजेस के बारे में सोचो. ह्यूमन राइट विलेजेस, वर्क प्लेसेस विलेजेस में भी है क्या? कैसे होता होगा? जस्ट थिंक अबाउट दैट. ओके, सो आई एम टेकिंग ए लॉन्ग टाइम, आई एम जस्ट फिनिश इन 2 minutes. देन एड्रेस स्ट्रक्चरल एंड कल्चरल इशूज़. ओके, देन एम्प्लॉयर्स अवेयरनेस क्या होना चाहिए कि एम्प्लॉयर को भी अपने राइट्स के बारे में जानना चाहिए. लेकिन राइट्स के बारे में जानने के बाद कितने लोग उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे? मान लीजिए 100 वुमेन आर सफरिंग, कितने इम्प्लीमेंट करें आप बताइए? 9%, मैं 10 भी नहीं गया, लेस देन 10%. देन क्यों? कल्चरल इशू से, स्ट्रक्चरल इशू से. मैं जाऊँ, बदनाम हो जाएगा, पेपर में आ जाएगा, वो क्या कहेगा, हस्बैंड क्या कहेगा, मदर क्या कहेगी, सो मेनी इशूज़. एंड रिपोर्ट इंसिडेंट्स आर नॉट रिपोर्टेड प्रॉपरली. दिस इज व्हाट द स्टैटिस्टिक्स सेज. पार्टिसिपेट इन ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम में पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करते हैं, टाइम नहीं है कि घर जाना है तुरंत पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करते. सो ऑल द बुलिंग, इंटिमिडेशन, बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं. व्हाट देयर इज ए होप. इन होप परसेंटेज, होप फॉर फ्यूचर परसेंटेज, वी रैंक 35 out of 190. दिस इज गुड. वी रैंक 35 इन होप परसेंटेज, होप फॉर फ्यूचर. सो देयर इज ए होप फॉर फ्यूचर. मैं अपना 34 years एक्सपीरियंस इन दिस डिपार्टमेंट एंड 11 years इन दिल्ली, कभी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुआ. जो प्रॉब्लम हुआ ओवरलुक कर दिया. प्रॉब्लम तो हमेशा ज़िंदगी में होता है. हाँ, हाई हमेशा हाई अप में रहे, होने दो, प्रॉब्लम होने दो, क्या हो जाएगा? कुछ नहीं होगा. डिपेंडिंग ऑन हाउ यू आर डूइंग, व्हाट इज योर कॉन्फिडेंस, दैट लाइज विद द वुमेन ऑल्सो. अगर आप जहाँ भी है, यू शुड बी नॉलेजेबल. नॉलेजेबल कोई रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है, खाली टाइम नहीं है, आलसी. आजकल तो मोबाइल में बिजी है, रील में बिजी है सब, आजकल की बात ही छोड़ो. लेकिन उसमें भी अच्छे लोग आते हैं. ठीक है. सो with all this, I sum up by saying that it is a wonderful topic, and I congratulate the Human Rights Commission and Professor Sau, and thank you all for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I request the guest of today, Professor S.M. Patnaik, would also be listening to him, but I thought he should also have some remarks for this inaugural session.
Honorable Chairperson, Human Rights Commission, Justice Rama Subramaniam ji, Madam Saidin Gui Chakchuak, Member of Indian Administrative Service and Joint Secretary NHRC, respected Head of the Department, Professor Sahu, Professor Chaudhary, Professor Gupta, Dr. Susma ji, Dr. Pratibha ji, Professor Mehrotra, my esteemed colleagues from Lucknow University and other different institutes, dear students, my heartfelt thanks to the head of the department and also to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Alok Rai, for their charismatic and inspirational leadership in connecting to all of us and creating a space for the right kind of discussions on the campus of Lucknow University in collaboration with National Human Rights Commission. I would like to begin my statement on the theme of the workshop, women's safety at work and public spaces. Are these two spaces equal? How to understand a workspace and a public space? What are the principles that operate to subjugate women in these two spaces? I would like to argue that there are two fundamental principles, interrelated, overlapping, cross-cutting, but analytically separable. And therefore, it becomes easy for us to handle from the point of view of a policy. The first one is patriarchy, which operates in the workspace, and the second one is the anonymity, which works in the public space. The principle of patriarchy operates also invisibly, and therefore entering into the domain of anonymity, and within anonymous perpetrators, patriarchy is very strong, and therefore two analytically separable concepts, but organically united, connected, intertwined. And therefore, I would like to deliberate around these two principles and how it can make sense to the youngsters. We all know that whenever we look at a phenomenon, we must know in a postmodern reflexive ethnography, we should situate ourselves. Where are we located? Men, women, poor, marginalized, rich, elite. I mean, where are we located? I would like to locate myself before putting my observations in front of you. I have been a field worker, an anthropologist. And as a field worker, I know how safe and unsafe spaces are constituted in different cultures. I have also been a faculty member of the prestigious Delhi University, and I know how colleagues interact across the gender lines. I have also been a member of ICC, Internal Complaint Committee, the apex committee at the level of University of Delhi. I was fortunate enough and have a very close observation of such cases. And finally, I have also been an educational administrator as the Vice Chancellor of Utkal University. I have seen how these principles are understood, given sense, and made sense in the context of a state university. We all know that this Human Rights Commission, as Professor Chaudhary said, is very, very recent. Of course, in a prehistoric term, in a historical sense, not in a state of a journalistic one, I mean 33 decades. And also this POSH, protection of or prevention and redressal of sexual harassment in workplace, 2013. I would begin my summary, because we are not having much time. I would like to say that when students come from different cultural background, different small towns, and they come to a big city like Lucknow, they are not very well equipped in terms of the gender relations. That how to talk to the friend of the opposite sex, opposite gender. Because gender relations are understood in a small town very differently from that of a metropolitan. Madam was just mentioning that her experience in 4 metropolitan cities gives a deeper insight into how gender relations work. I totally agree with it. The gender relations in Delhi is not the gender relations in Mumbai or in Lucknow. And therefore, a student needs to be sensitized in the orientation program and other programs. They need to be sensitized to talk to the other gender in a way which is empathetic, more sensitive, and therefore, it is not violative of the rules or the conduct the moral codes of conduct. It has something to do with the concept of personhood. And in sociology, we all study the concept of personhood. Many of my friends may not know. When I was a small child, if anybody would say anything to me, the tears will roll down. And my friends would say, why are you ladki jaisa kyun rota hai? So kahin na kahin societal forces have created that kind of inhibition. I should not cry. I did not know that that is how patriarchy enters into your psyche, into your mind. That is how masculinity is cultivated. But maybe crying was very spontaneous. Crying was very, because when you are offended, when you are humiliated, when you are insulted, the tear will roll down. And therefore, the concept of personhood is instilled in people's mind, in the children's mind, in the student's mind, right from the beginning, unconsciously. As a teacher, we all do it. We all tell our daughters not to go out late in the evening. But I was reading a caption somewhere that you keep your sons within the home and the world will be safe when the evenings the daughters are outside. So the concept of personhood and the principle in which how patriarchy works, an important catch comes from the binary. What is the binary? My experience in ICC tells me that if you tell somebody, suppose there was a case with a medico professional, and suppose you tell him, he was not perpetrating a crime, but he was very adamant on certain things. So when it was told that you should behave more sensibly, more respectfully with the women, he would say, I am not going to talk at all, sir, main to baat hi nahi karta. But the solution doesn't lie in not talking to them. That is also a different way of creating friction among the gender relations. Why can't you talk to them with respect, with understanding, with sensibilities, what Professor Chaudhary was telling, Professor Sahu was mentioning in the beginning, that how this gender creates the kind of victim ideology or stereotyping. So either you stereotype or you avoid. And that is what the boys have been taught. So we must understand the subtleties, the subtle nuances that exist between the genders. And the subtle nuances is something which the youth of today should understand. When we talk about, another point, when we talk about gender equality, now, when you say that gender equality, education is one of the important components. But the question comes, have we provided the right kind of condition for our daughters to go to the school? Have we provided the schools and the colleges in the villages, in the rural and semi-urban spaces with the adequate toilets, water supply? Have we taken care of their physiological needs, which can come all of a sudden at any point of time? Why should they be subjected to a public space where their dignity, their respect is not taken care of from an institutional point of view? And therefore, when we talk about gender equality comes with certain amount of responsibility, institutional responsibility. And such kind of institutional responsibility has to be discharged with a great sense of believing in future. A culture of safety does not exist in vacuum. A culture of safety is dependent on a culture of equality, a culture of respect, a culture for zero tolerance to gender violence or gender harassment. We also have a very famous statement by William Wright. William Wright is an Irish missionary, and missionaries had great sense of history, great sense of anthropology, and social sciences. They emerged from the writings of the missionary. So one of the famous missionary, William Wright, around 1880s, pointed out a very famous quotation which all of you hear and which Madam was mentioning, that if a phenomenon is not there, that is not a simple way of, that's not a simple absence. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, and that is how the cases are going unreported. Cases go unreported because many a times we say that women and the daughters, they think the consequence. And when they think about the consequence, there is another binary, the binary between individual and collectivity. I was remembering a newspaper item few decades ago, a highly dictatorial leadership in Malaysia. He shared the dais with one of the judges of Malaysia. And the honorable judge told in a lighter vein, after listening to the leader, that we have freedom of speech. So the judge said that we have freedom of speech, but we should also have freedom after speech. And therefore, the whole idea is, when we talk about the raising one's voice, our sisters, our daughters are intelligent to know what will happen afterwards. Is the society prepared to listen to their voice? Is the society adequately equipped to deconstruct the so-called patriarchy? Has it understood the finer channels, invisible channels, in which patriarchy operates? And therefore, the societal response and the outcome is the collectivity before which the individual stands alone. The women stands alone, the daughter stands alone. And I know we also run a course on forensic science. Department of Anthropology, University of Delhi runs a course on forensic science. And we also know many of the children, women students have come and confided, some of them have come and confided to me that how they were not treated properly in the police station. Because when they are doing a field work for 2 weeks, and immediately I said, have you reported to your father? They said, no, we cannot tell it to our father. Things will be going out of hand. I said, you allow me to write to them without taking your name. They said, sir, don't do. I mean, this is what I'm surprised. I mean, how could, I mean, at least they had the courage to come and tell the head of the department. 2 of them came and confided. And when I said that I'm not going to tolerate anything, I will write, and I'll write through my registrar or through my honorable vice chancellor, things will be taken care of. They take a back seat. So they stand alone because they know that the society is not prepared. So it's a long march. We have to come up to cut the long story short. Finally, that our students, when they are coming to the institutions of higher education, they are all well equipped with the law, with the act. They know there are institutional framework, but at the same time, both boys and girls should develop a very healthy gender relations. And this healthy gender relation has to be based on mutuality, respect, and dignity, recognizing the dignity of everyone. That's what Madam said, that believe in the respect of others, whether the other is other gender, same gender, or anything of that kind. To conclude, is there a solution? Professor Sahu said that I have to also speak sometime later, but I do not know what I will speak. Let me complete the solution kind of thing. But I'll not disappoint him, don't worry. So what I think is what should be the solution I've been thinking? The solution is that the societal response is an important thing which the women judges well in advance. And I always tell my students that, look, law has made that the parental property should be equally divided among sons and a daughter. A time will come, boys, please listen. A time will come at your life after 50 years when you have to give your share to your sister. And remember me, I won't be here. Remember me, your sister is more intelligent than you. She will not ask for the flat because she knows we cannot take it with us when we go. She nurtures those things which are more enjoyable, more valuable, the kind of sibling relationship, the kind of collegiality. So we need to go a long way. We need to prepare our boys. We need to prepare our girls to be courageous, to be self-confident. So what is the solution? The solution I would like to visualize and place before you, that the society should think of creating support system by mobilizing the bonds of sorority. And these bonds of sorority should not fall into the trap of ghettoization. A bonds of sorority should be inculcated among the women, which is not ghettoized, which is not inspired by the Western feministic, individualistic ideology, but which is located in an Indian civilizational perspective where women have always raised questions and have asked philosophers to think, rethink, and reinvent new perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And the most catchphrase and the buzzword is freedom after speech is more important. That's very important. Thank you, sir. And we'll be listening to him. And I now request Professor Pramod Gupta to provide a formal vote of thanks. I also welcome Professor Archana Shukla, Head of the Department of Psychology, and Ms. Sunita Iron from Hindustan Times. Thank you.
थैंक यू सर। आज पता नहीं कौन बहुत बड़ा दिन है हमारे लिए और आपने एक शब्द से हमको नवाजा प्रोफेसर, तो आई डोंट नो क्या आपका आशीर्वाद मिला। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर एवरीथिंग। विमेन सेफ्टी एवरीवन इज टॉकिंग अबाउट and we are very much grateful and thankful to the NHRC that they have given and collaborated with us, our department, that we have some steps for women safety. Though we have already, हम लोग पहले से ही विमेन सुरक्षा, माता बहनों की सुरक्षा सबकी बात करते आए हैं। बहुत सारे वक्ता हमारे बीच बैठे हुए हैं, दे ऑल आर डिग्निफाइड एंड हम सबके लिए वो रिस्पेक्टेबल हैं। If I am talking about chairperson, Honorable Justice Venkatraman Subramaniam Sahab, Venkatraman Subramaniam Sahab, Bala Subramaniam, but the name was written on his presentation, Venkatraman Bala Subramaniam. That is why Rama Subramaniam. So we are very, very, very much grateful to him that he has talked a lot about women's safety and provided so many data related to women's safety, NHRC, and so many other crimes related to women and women's safety. So, sir, we are very much thankful to you that you have awakened us and you have told so many, and so you have prescribed so many things that these are the mechanism. This could be one of the mechanism by which women can feel more safety, even in their workplaces. And just I have gone through the data which provided by NCRB, National Crime Record Bureau, and I am very much surprising to know that ज़्यादातर क्राइम जो विमेन के साथ हुआ है वो उनके बहुत क्लोज रिलेटिव के साथ रिपोर्ट हुआ है। Why this happening? This is wondering. We are claiming that we are humans. हमारे घर में हमारी बेटियां सुरक्षित नहीं है और we are talking about the others. तो उन बेटियों का क्या, उन बहनों का क्या? तो हम अपने घर से अपनी बहनों को, अपनी बेटियों की सुरक्षा यदि इंश्योर करते हैं तो मुझे लगता है इस क्राइम रेट में, और सरप्राइजिंगली आई एम थैंकफुल टू मैडम Sangi Ringpui, senior IS with us, or she has presented lots of things and she has quoted statewide data. And I am sorry to say that I belong to the state of UP where the crime rate is very, very high, in the highest rate in the India. तो मैडम के लेक्चर से आई एम थैंकफुल एंड ग्रेटफुल टू यू मैडम that you told us these are the scenario. जब हमने कैलकुलेट किया अकॉर्डिंग टू द पॉपुलेशन कि हमारे यूपी का पॉपुलेशन कितना है, बिहार का पॉपुलेशन कितना है, महाराष्ट्र का पॉपुलेशन कितना है, जस्ट आई डिड दिस, तो उसमें जब प्रोपोर्शन निकाला तो हमें लगा कि हमारा यूपी पॉपुलेशन के अकॉर्डिंग दूसरे राज्यों की तुलना में अभी भी कम है. हम प्राउड फील नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम उस डेटा को रिफाइन कर रहे हैं. जब हम पॉपुलेशन के अकॉर्डिंग देखेंगे, क्योंकि पॉपुलेशन यूपी का सबसे टॉप पे है, तो ये बात है कि हम एनसीआरबी तमाम डेटा मैं देख रहा हूं, और हमारे साथ जो डिग्नेटरीज हैं वो हम सबको वार्न कर रहे हैं. यहां पे वो बताने आए हैं कि यस देयर इज ए क्राइम, विमेन्स आर नॉट सेफ्टी इवन इन आवर हाउसेस, even in our workplaces. So what is happening? There is no mechanism. Only thing is that I am very much grateful to Professor Patnaik that he talks a lot about the sensitivity, awareness, respect to the other, what madam told, respect to the others, respect to the women, equality, equal opportunity. So many things they have told, and thankful to the Professor Chaudhary, senior to us, very senior to us. I respect him a lot. He always blessed us. He told lot of things and given so many statistics, and all statistics are about women, their safety, crime reported by their close relative, their intimate partner, and so many others fellow, those who are working with them. These are the scenario. So we are grateful that you people came here, you people came and warned us, you have given so many statistics. We are very much grateful to you all. I realize, being a sociologist, I realize we are also committing sometime mistaken. But ये एक ऐसा मौका है जिसके बिहाफ पे यदि हम यहीं से एक केवल डिसाइड कर ले कि नहीं, हम आज से ही हमारे अपनी माताओं, बहनों, बेटियों, कलीग्स, फ्रेंड्स सबके साथ यदि अपने बिहेवियर में थोड़ा सा चेंज कर ले, थोड़ा सा, सब लोग ऐसा सोच ले, तो ये अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म है, अच्छा मौका है. एनएचआरसी ने हमको एक बहुत बढ़िया मौका दिया है कि हमको इस तरह की सोचने की ज़रूरत पड़ी. अदरवाइज हम लोग तो अपने रिसर्च में बिजी थे, अपने क्लासेस में बिजी थे. तो वी आर वेरी मच ग्रेटफुल टू एनएचआरसी, और एनएचआरसी आगे भी मौका देता है तो हम लोग मिल करके ऑर्गेनाइज रूप में उस पर काम कर सकते हैं, इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं. और इन सभी मौक़ों को देने के लिए, एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए हम ग्रेटफुल हैं, थैंकफुल हैं हमारे ऑनरेबल एचओडी सर के लिए. इनके लिए जोरदार तालियां. इन्होंने बहुत सारे अपॉर्चुनिटी हमको दिए हैं कि हम लोग एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे आएँ और इस तरह की चीज़ों में अपने बातों को, अपनी चीज़ों को शेयर करें. सर वी आर वेरी मच ग्रेटफुल टू यू. बहुत सारे डिग्निटरीज हमारे ऑल ओवर इंडिया से. आई रेस्पेक्ट प्रोफेसर नीलिका मैडम, एंड वहाँ यहाँ पे आई. आज तो सुनने का हमें लगता मौका, आपने मैडम को बुलाए होते तो और कुछ, मैडम बहुत कुछ नोट कर रही थी. आई हैव सीन दैट. तो एक सीनियर मैडम को, जो हम लोग उनको रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं, उनको भी सुनने का मैं सोच रहा था कि अभी मैडम आएंगी तो खैर हमें लगता है कि ड्यू टू टाइम की वजह से कुछ आपने, कुछ हो सकता है नेक्स्ट सेशन में उनका है. तो आई एम वेरी मच ग्रेटफुल टू यू मैडम, एंड आई विल बी हियर टू लिसन यू. बहुत सारे हमारे कलीग्स बहुत सारे कॉलेजेस से आए हों. वी आर वेरी मच थैंकफुल टू यू ऑल्सो. लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, हम किसके लिए ग्रेटफुल हो बताइए? अपने स्कॉलर्स, अपने स्टूडेंट्स के लिए। वेरी वेरी थैंकफुल टू यू दैट यू आर हियर। आपके पेशेंस के लिए आपको थैंक यू। आपके हर जज्बात के लिए आपको धन्यवाद कि आप हर कार्यक्रम में हमारे साथ यहाँ बैठ करके उसको सफल बनाने में आप यहाँ पे तत्पर रहते हैं। मीडिया पर्सनल जो हमारे ऑफ द डायस, ऑन द डायस, जितने भी लोग इसमें इन्वॉल्व है, सबको मैं धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करता हूँ, प्रेषित करता हूँ। एक लाइन में लास्ट बोल करके समाप्त करूंगा। बेटा बेटी के लिए एक लाइन है कि अगर बेटा प्राण है तो बेटी जान है, अगर बेटा शान है तो बेटी गुमान है। इस बात को ध्यान रखिए। थैंक यू वेरी मच। थैंक यू टू ऑल ऑफ यू।
थैंक यू। सम अनाउंसमेंट। हमारे अभी टी ब्रेक है। टी ब्रेक के बाद वी हैव आवर डिस्टिंग्विश्ड गेस्ट मिस्टर एस एन सावत फ्रॉम चेयरमैन यूपी सर्विस सिलेक्शन बोर्ड. Now I would like to request Professor Pratibha Raj to give a memento to Joint Secretary Madam. Now I request Professor Sushma Madam to give to Professor S.M. Patnaik, Director of Center for Tribal Studies, Delhi University. Now I request our Priyanka to give a memento to our Professor S.K. Chaudhary, sir. So we'll have a tea break right now, and we'll assemble exactly after 10 minutes. And the session will be held in the grounds hall, Radhakamal Mukherjee Auditorium. So please join the tea, and we will proceed to the next session in the Radhakamal Mukherjee Auditorium.